What's going on, everybody? American Football Network here with another video today. And today, as you see on the screen, we're bringing you guys a preview, kind of a draft player profile of Jayden Daniels. But before we get started, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Comment those thoughts and opinions down below. Help us reach that goal of 1,300 subs, preferably by the end of February. We got about a day and a half left, so let's get rolling on that. About 5 away. Let's hit that goal and move on to another one in March. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. Check out the description for links to our shop, podcast, website, patron page, and our College Football Roundup channel, as well as the Podcast Boys Network channel. And scroll down to the bottom of the description where you'll find all the links to our friends who we do a lot of videos with. And we have one of those with us here today. We're joined by Michael from the Football Extraordinaire. How you doing today?
Good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. We're going to get started on this video. But before we do, let everybody know where they can find you at and catch all your content at.
As of right now, you can find me on YouTube at the Football Extraordinaire. Um, I also have Patreon, the Football Extraordinaire as well. I am not really messing with that at the moment now because we're in February and college season don't start till August. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We still got a little bit of a ways to go before we hit that. Right now, we're in prime NFL draft season, and it's time to get rolling with that. So, like I mentioned, we're doing our Jayden Daniels player profile. Daniels coming off of a spectacular season last year. He won the Heisman Trophy. He comes in listed at 6'4", 210. He might be a little bit smaller than that in terms of weight. He's 23 years old. He'll turn 24 during the season. His birthday's in December. You look at his numbers from last year, 3,800 yards through the air, added in 1,100 more on the ground, 40 touchdowns to just 4 picks through the air, and 11.7 yards an attempt in the passing game. So just elite accuracy displayed from him last season. Now he had two of the best receivers. I mean, he's two of his receivers, his main two targets. They're going to go in the first round this year as well. And Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Those guys are going first round. You would imagine Neighbors definitely. He may even be. There's a lot of talk about him. He may even be the number one receiver off the board ahead of Marvin Harrison. Just kind of depends on what teams need because they are a little bit of different builds in terms of body. But he's up there in the top three. That's kind of the big debate. The wide receiver position is Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. What order do you put those guys in? Personally, for me, I have Harrison, Neighbors, Odunze. But some people have Neighbors as high as one. Um, so Jayden Daniels definitely very to have those guys around him. So what are your thoughts on Jayden Daniels coming into the draft, and what teams would you like to see him go play for?
Well, obviously, him not having a choice, he had to go through draft being a graduate senior, I believe. This was his fifth year, I believe, college. Um, Fourth or fifth. Um, I personally think he's going to go top three. I say Washington or New England. Um, I would probably say New England, but with Mac Jones staying in New England, the way it's sounding, I would say it's probably more likely to go to Washington. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to New England or Chicago or anywhere like that else either.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if Chicago's going to go with him because to me, as a similar play style as Justin Fields, big armed athlete, great speed, can move around, can attack you with his arm and his legs. So I don't know if Chicago goes that route with Jayden Daniels because to me, again, he's a guy who seems to be very similar to Justin Fields type. And I know Caleb Williams has a good arm and he runs around a lot as well, but he doesn't play the same way that Fields does necessarily. So I think Daniels is more of a similar play style and player than to Fields. So I don't know if Chicago goes that route. But I would love to see him go to Washington. He'll have very good receivers in Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. And he'll have a solid running game with Brian Thomas Jr. They got to patch up that offensive line a little bit and get the defense straight. But I think it would be a good pick to Washington. That's where I would like to see him go. Now, they do have Sam Howell, so we'll see what Washington wants to do if they want to potentially move forward with Howell or draft somebody to come in and give him some competition. But I do think that Washington quarterback situation is probably going to be the best for a rookie quarterback because you have Sam Howell in there. So whatever QB comes in, like you look at a guy like Trevor Lawrence or Bryce Young or CJ Stroud that have come out of the draft, and everybody knows that they're the starter going into the next year. You draft Jayden Daniels or Drake May at second if you're Washington, they're going to have to go in there and win a QB battle. And so I think that is one of the big advantages to whoever the Commanders end up selecting is the fact that they're not guaranteed a spot as the starting quarterback. They're going to have to go in there and go win it. And so I think Daniels obviously would win the job over Sam Howell, but I think Washington would be a very good spot for him. You look at his I have kind of a little bit of a scouting report made on him. I look at his strengths, great speed, very good lateral agility, a nice twitch. He's huge at making big plays with both his big arm, throwing the ball down the field, and with his running ability, he can run the ball and make guys miss. Just an incredible athlete. He is. Has a quick, compact release. He can. I mean, you watch him throw some of those deep balls. He looks effortless on some of them. He's got very good arm talent, and he's good. He knows when to bullet one in there and when to put some touch on it and let his man go run underneath it. He's a very experienced, very smart football player. He can go through his reads and progressions very quickly and very successful. You go back to a lot of games, particularly I go back to that Ole Miss game whenever he just tore the Rebels up, and they ended up losing the game. The defense couldn't hold up in the end for him. He made a ton of plays in that game, and you watch him that entire game. He's looking one way, and this is what he does best: is he knows how to look the safety off, and get them out of the crossing lanes, and then hit his man. He looked the safeties off left and right all day long in that Ole Miss game and hit his man time after time again. He's a very accurate passer. I mean, you look at his numbers from last year: 40 touchdowns to just 4 interceptions. Incredible that he was able to do. Even as a true freshman coming into Arizona State, he threw for 17 touchdowns and just 2 picks. So he's a guy who takes care of the football, makes smart throws, and um, has very good anticipation, and he's got really good ball placement, and he's a good rhythm passer. You want to get him in a quick passing game, some RPO looks, and he can just hit those passes over and over and over. He's a quick rhythm passer, and he's. I think the thing I like the most about him is he's not scared to take a hit in the pocket. There's plenty of times throughout this season, even after the Dallas Turner hit, which gave him a concussion. You might have thought already might be a little bit timid coming back out, but no, he stands in the pocket and he does it. Now you do worry about his weight. He's listed as 210. He's probably going to come in a little bit lighter than that. So when he gets to the NFL, would like to see him get a little bit bigger, probably up closer to that 215, 220 mark. But he's got a lot of strengths to his game. I think he's a really good talent. What are the strengths that you have for Jayden Daniels as an NFL quarterback?
Obviously, one thing I've really seen him improve on, I think he's really became a strength at, is staying in the pocket longer. Especially that first year at LSU and towards the end of his years at San Diego State, I believe it was. Whenever there would be a
Arizona
blitz,
State, yeah.
yeah. Whenever there would be a blitz, he would always seem like he would panic a bit more and kind of just want to take off right out of the pocket. especially this year, you can see that when there's a blitz, he's more he reads the field and he doesn't just take off. Um, as you said, great ball placement. Um, has the speed if he needs to break open a big play. Um, basically has everything you want in an NFL quarterback.
For sure, and like like I said, very smart passer. Doesn't make a lot of just dumb throws that you see some of these other guys. He's very mature. Been in the game for a while. So what would you say are some of your biggest weaknesses you have against him coming in to the NFL draft? What would you say are some of his downsides?
Can he? The biggest concern for me is can he protect himself?
Hmm.
As we've seen with these scrambling QBs coming up in recent years, if Fields and Lamar and so on, they've been injured more than they have been on the field. My biggest concern with him would be can he stay on the field?
Yeah, yeah, for
Um,
sure. And that was what I was just about to say. Like I said, he's listed at 210, probably going to come in a little bit lighter than that. I mean, very slender and narrow frame, and that worries me for long-term durability. Um, when you talk about him as a long-term QB, um, I wouldn't say he has elite arm strength, and that limits sort of the top end velocity, and that can sometimes come back to haunt you because it can give DBs time to close ground on, for example, a comeback route. If you can't deliver that ball with high velocity, could lead the DBs to be able to make up ground and come back in and potentially intercept that ball or knock it away. So I worry a little bit about that. And I think the one major weakness that I noticed in his game is that when you watch his game tape and you see what the defense sets up pre-snap, and he makes his dives, he calls the plays, audibles, all that stuff. Sometimes he doesn't always adapt the best to when the post snap coverage kind of changes and they get him and it conflicts with the pre-snap coverage. Sometimes you will see him get a little bit hesitant over the middle, and stuff like that. So that, a little bit of delayed reads when that happens. So that is one thing I'll have to work on. But again, nothing major. Like, definitely something you can teach him, you can help him with. And if he gets a good QB coach, like I think Cliff Kingsbury is, and a very good offensive mind, I would love to see him paired up near Washington. I think Kingsbury will be able to use him in a lot of ways, and I think Jayden Daniels could turn into a very good quarterback at the NFL level. I'm not sure if he's going to be one of these guys like Tom Brady who can go win a super. And I say Tom Brady, I don't mean go win 7 Super Bowls and be elite. When I compare him to when I say I don't know if he can be like Tom Brady, I mean the Tom Brady that could take literally any team to a Super Bowl. I don't know if Daniels is that kind of guy, and there's more people other than just Brady that could do that. But I'm not sure if Daniels is going to be able to just take a team with lesser talent to a Super Bowl. But again, that's not up for me to sit here and decide and criticize him for. That's up for him to go prove and show. But I think he can be a very good quarterback in the NFL, and I think his strengths definitely outnumber his weaknesses by a lot. I think he's got pretty much everything you can't coach. Obviously, you'd love for the arm strength to be a little bit better, but he definitely has the arm strength to be an NFL quarterback, and I think he's going to turn out to be a pretty solid one. But that's going to wrap up today's video. Again, help me
now,
reach that goal
I
of
will say quick.
1,300 subs. Go ahead.
I will say quick. If there's one comparison I have for him, as right now, if he can gain 5 pounds, like you were saying, 5-10 pounds, he kind of reminds me of a Cam Newton type of guy.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. The only thing I would say is I don't think his arm is quite as strong as Cam's was, but I think it's more accurate than Cam Newton ever was. But I do think that's a very good comparison. Somebody like that. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap up today's video. Help us hit that goal of 1,300 subs by the end of February. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in today and watching. Make sure you go check out the football extraordinaire over on YouTube. I'll have a card for him right here and one at the beginning. So check him out. Help us both out. Help him hit his goal. I think you're aiming for what, 50 subs by the end of, or 100
Yeah.
subs by the end of the draft?
Uh, 50 for now. I'm 5 away. I'm hoping to get about 100 by the draft.
Okay. Yeah, so go help him hit that goal of 50. He's 5 away. I'm 5 away from my goal of 1,300. So help us out. We appreciate you guys watching.